Hey, what's up everybody, it's your boy Proftrof. We're back again with another TierZoo video. This is surviving the Arctic meta. Let's check it out.
Ready? Go!
Jesus. Oh.
While servers like Australia and the Amazon can seem tough, what makes them difficult is the competition there. Nothing about the server itself directly impedes your survival. However, there are some areas of the game which punish players who aren't equipped to deal with the passive status effects dealt by the overworld. Probably the best examples of this are the polar servers, of which there are two. I'll save Antarctica for another time. Today, we're looking at the players surviving the brutally cold and icy Arctic server. What makes this server so tough is that for a large portion of the time, the cold atmosphere constantly drains stamina and HP. You'll need two things to not have the server drain your life to zero here. The first thing you need is some sort of armor that has cold resistance. Whether that comes in the form of thick fur, down feathers, or blubber. Without cold resistance, you'll see your stamina and HP crash hard. The second thing you'll need to do is make sure you spec into the endotherm class. This allows you to recover the most stamina by eating. The cost of doing this is that you can't get any energy from sunlight and have to continuously find loot in order to survive. However, the Polar Night World event actually removes sunlight from the overworld for months at a time, so pulling off an ectotherm build here would actually be next to impossible anyway. This is why reptile and amphibian players are currently region locked to the lower latitude levels. So today I want to talk about the things that the best Arctic builds are doing to stand out in such a difficult meta. Before we get into it, I want to be clear on what I'm considering the Arctic, so I don't get 1,000 comments asking why I forgot something. The gray wolf, reindeer, golden eagle, wolverine, orca, and moose all may venture into the Arctic, but since they're not exclusive to the Arctic,
I'll be honest, I wanted to see the fucking Wolverine
omitting
in this
them
video.
for this one.
Jeez.
Now, I'm betting a lot of you think you've got me figured out. You're probably guessing that my top picks for the server are going to be the white wolves because of their pack hunting strategy, and the polar bears because of their insane base stats. And I definitely don't blame you. I've showed a pretty constant bias towards high-powered or tactical carnivore builds in previous videos, but in this case I don't think it's that simple. Let's talk about the polar bear first. So bears in general have it pretty good. They're nearly unparalleled in combat, and are also extremely versatile thanks to their omnivorous playstyle. They've also got an awesome
Was that a
unique
bear
ability
with a fucking leash on it?
extremely versatile thanks
Why does that bear have a leash on it?
to their omnivorous playstyle. They've also got an awesome unique ability that lets them skip the tougher stages of the game, waiting until the difficulty drops back down to normal to continue their playthrough. The same cannot be said about polar bears though. While they definitely have the same extreme combat power other bears do, they're not omnivores. They're fully committed to PKing and don't get much XP from scavenging like grizzlies, Kodiak bears, and black bears do. In addition, they also don't get to skip the polar night like other bears can, meaning they're stuck hunting during one of the most difficult world events on one of the most difficult servers in the game. Furthermore, even though they do have crazy high base stats, they don't have any broken special abilities that make them top tier.
Resurrect. Mercy Shed, knowledge humans transform octopus, witch time, bayonet.
Abilities that make them top tier.
3 Teeter shark.
Their stealth is harshly reduced because of the lack of cover, and also their extremely pungent smell. This means polar bears must constantly outplay their opponents, either by setting traps, or somehow sneaking up on targets in spite of their abysmal stealth. In desperate times, it can mean picking really unfavorable fights. Now, as for wolves in the Arctic meta, they're in kind of a weird place. They tend to hunt in smaller packs, either duos or trios. Why they choose to do this instead of forming bigger clans is beyond me. I'm not a wolf main. This is a problem because wolves really only have two options when it comes to prey: rabbits and musk oxen. Rabbits are pretty much free wins for wolves, but aren't worth near enough XP to sustain a team. On the other hand, 3 wolves aren't near strong enough to bring down a good muskox player. And so wolves are in the unfortunate but not uncommon position of being forced to either grief builds from lower weight classes, or hope to catch a muskox that's either really new to the game or already low on HP. Again, a lot of hunters do this, but hunting the weak is not a top tier trait. Wolves are much better off in areas with mid-weight herbivores, but really there's not much reason to play DPS when you could just choose the support version of this build anyway. Don't get me wrong, wolves are still pretty great and can score wins against bigger targets when things go according to plan. They aren't in near as tough a spot as, for example, the Arctic
so
fox,
cute though,
which has hardly any favorable matchups in the region, and has to mostly rely on stealth in order to avoid being obliterated by bears and wolves. On top of this, Arctic foxes are extremely vulnerable to the Arctic rabies virus, and as a result, its player base is declining significantly. I don't want to get too off topic though, I'll cover virus players in a different video. Okay, so if the top predators in this region aren't the top tiers of the meta, who is? Is it the muskox I was just talking about? Well, I certainly think the muskox is an excellent build. It's managed to max out its first skill tree to grant a huge defense bonus. Biting or slashing through its hair is near impossible. Their horns and charge attack are also not something any player wants to get hit by. Having a favorable matchup against wolves and polar bears means their worst issue is lack of
fast
food.
as fuck
The
as
spawn
well.
rate for plants is just abysmal in the Arctic. Trees are completely absent there, and sometimes the best loot you can find is only moss or lichen. If you like tanks but don't like starving, I think your best option is to switch to a
If you like tanks but don't like starving.
absent there, and sometimes the best loot you can find is only moss or lichen. If you like tanks but don't like starving, I think your best option is to switch to a marine tank. There's much better loot available on the seafloor, like clams, seaweed, and fish. One of the top examples is the narwhal. The narwhal excels at being able to find said loot because of their echolocation. This is believed to be amplified by their ridiculous tusk, which can also be used to stun smaller prey. Unfortunately, this cumbersome, unwieldy weapon isn't too useful on defense, and since narwhals are locked into the ocean server, they don't have any counterplay options against overpowered orcas that occasionally visit the Arctic server. That's why the best Arctic build is the walrus. Like the narwhal, it also survives off of loot on the seafloor, but it's got two tusks that are much more effective for defense. While they're admittedly not much better in the orca matchup, they're able to escape onto land, where they can easily hold their own. Even polar bear players would only pick fights with a walrus if they have literally no other option. And when they do it, it usually doesn't end up going well for them. They're insane size and thick blubber.
Bro, that guy poked his fucking ass, and not in the good way. Jesus. Oof. I mean, he's attacking that fucking walrus when there's like 50 fucking walruses in the back. Jesus Christ, my guy.
Well for them. Their insane size and thick blubber makes most attacks from predators laughably weak. Meanwhile, their counterattacks do enough damage to make any aggressor reconsider choosing the class that they did. Okay, so we can't talk about the Arctic without talking about the elephant in the room. One of the game mechanics, called the greenhouse effect, is slowly reducing the player cap in the polar servers. This, combined with ganking by humans, has uprooted the former Arctic meta, and in general just made it an unstable and unbalanced region. What I'm trying to say is that, like a few other things, the best advice for someone trying to get into the Arctic meta would be to start a few years ago. So that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching.
So he put the walrus in S tier. Huh. Wow. Oh, he didn't talk about Arctic foxes though, did he? Besides that they get hunted by wolves. Huh. I felt a little rushed down, to be honest with you. I was kind of hoping he would talk. Is this the only animals we have there? Like, I have a walrus, or that fucking hairy buffalo. Jesus, I don't know. What y'all think? What's your favorite Arctic animal? I love how the wolves look, and if they did not have a chance of biting my face off, I would have one as a pet. They're cute as fuck. And I love dogs. Wolves, same shit. Really. Anyway, let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, everybody. Have a nice day.